And another theory that I did that with was called the S curve, that was popularized by Everett Rogers back in the 1960s. And he used the S curve. And we actually used it at the Disruptive Innovation Fund to look at how quickly is a product going to be adopted? How do groups change over time? And I had the insight, the aha, that you could also use the S curve to help us understand how individuals change, how we learn, and how we grow. And the reason that I explain the S curve to people is because when you're disrupting yourself, you are probably going to be in the process of changing and growing. And what it does is it helps you understand what that growth is going to look like, and especially what it's going to feel like. So very simply, there are three major phases. There's the launch point, the sweet spot, the mastery. And whenever you start something new, your brain has a hypothesis. All right, I'm going to do this new thing. I'm going to disrupt myself. I'm at the launch point of the curve, that flat part, and I'm going to make lots of predictions, most of which are going to be inaccurate. So dopamine, the chemical messenger of delight, is going to drop. So the experience that I will have is, even though it's thrilling that I'm here, I'm also going to feel terrified and overwhelmed, discouraged, maybe impatient, possibly like an imposter. And so growth is happening, but it's not apparent. It feels slow. It feels like a slog, which makes it hard to start something new. That's the launch point of the curve. And that helps people say, okay, I've just disrupted myself. I've done this new thing. I'm feeling terribly uncomfortable. Oh, situation normal. This is exactly how I'm supposed to feel. I'm at the launch point of the curve. The second part is that you get that steep, sleek back of the curve. That's the sweet spot. And this is the place where you hit that tipping point that Malcolm Gladwell popularized. Growth's not only fast, it feels fast. You have your predictive model, those predictions are increasingly accurate. And so you have these emotional upside surprises, just like in the stock market when companies beat expectations. It's the same thing. You've beat expectations, and so the dopamine spikes. And this is why once you actually start with something, it's easy to keep going. So that's the part that with disruption, everybody loves that place. It's the flow place. The other place, and you and I have been actually talking a lot about this throughout the entire conversation, is that place of mastery, when you get to the top of that curve, where you were really good at what you're doing. You're a master at it, and you look around and think, I'm great at this. In fact, I love the people I work with. I love the industry that I'm in, but I feel like I can no longer keep doing this. So now people have this understanding of, it's not that I don't like where I am. It's just that my brain actually needs more dopamine. I have to continue to learn. Learning is the oxygen of human growth. And if I stay here, this plateau will become a precipice. I will die inside just a little bit. And so I'm going to make the decision to disrupt myself, to do something new that either pushes me back into the sweet spot of this curve, or I'm going to jump to an entirely new curve, going to disrupt myself and do something new and start that growth cycle all over again. So the how is as a starting point to give people a container or a map of what growth looks like so that they can normalize the experiences that they're having.
So I love that, Whitney, because you have really surfaced something that I think is one of the biggest barriers to success. Certainly one of the biggest barriers to success in new areas, to innovation, and therefore to disrupting yourself. What keeps most people from doing it is that first downward dip that you talk about, because it is hard. And slog is exactly the term that I would use for it. And I think a lot of people, it's funny, when I quit my job as a journalist, I at 20 years interviewing, CEOs and business leaders around the world, I met a lot of very successful people, a lot of billionaires and stuff. And, you ask people, what's the secret of your success? And it's hard work. And it's so easy to dismiss that, when you haven't been through that. It's so easy to say, well, of course, you're going to say hard work, and stuff like this. But that's really, but it really is the secret to success, because it is hard work to plow through that trough of, not getting it right, testing and learning, experimenting, trial and error, whatever you have, and yet nobody that I'm aware of comes to success without going through that.